Episode 1 of Thayer 312. I'm Asher, that is Dom. A couple degenerates that met in college, and we like gambling, like fantasy, and we're going to talk some fucking football. Let's do this.
Okay,
Dom,
brother.
you got anything to start off with there?
No, I mean, I'm not the gambler. That's you. I'm the fantasy degenerate over here. So we're gonna
That's
have a
fair,
good
yeah,
time.
yeah. That one leans the fantasy stuff, and I spend all my money. So we're gonna do just a season outlook for everybody this year, kind of what we're looking for, questions we have for everybody. Let's start with the AFC East here. We're gonna go with the Bills. I am actually a lot higher on the Bills this year than I think most are.
I agree. I agree with that.
Yeah, like I kind of like the setup that they have going on right now. I like the OC change. I think I like the way they looked the second half of the year last year. A
Yeah,
little less Josh Allen, go be Superman. James
yeah,
Cook,
for
let him
sure.
kind of take over the offense, let him kind of do his thing, and cut down on Allen's turnovers there. Looked a lot better.
Yeah,
So I do kind of like that this year, and also no Stephon Diggs. I think is going to be big.
I think it's definitely gonna play a role into how they're gonna figure out the dynamic. Um,
Yeah,
Clear Shakir, he's gonna be interesting. Him and Curtis Samuel gonna be the
yeah,
two
and
main
Keon
guys
Coleman
there.
could be really fun to watch too. He looks like
He
he's just going
he's
to be
just
a
a
guy there.
he's a fun person to listen to. I could listen to that
Hmm.
man talk all day.
Yeah, I mean the vibes are going to be great with him.
Oh
So
yeah.
I like that a lot. It's going to be a lot more relaxed, I think. And I mean, lost a lot of names on defense with Jordan Poyer. Like
They they
you are
they they
losing
just trimmed that
pieces.
roster down.
Yeah, but I mean, Sean McDermott's had a good defense every year he's been there.
Yeah.
Like Jordan Poyer
Yeah.
wasn't what he is now when Sean McDermott showed up. Like it's kind of got that Tomlin thing where like the defense is going to be fine. It might not be top
Yeah.
five, but it's going to
Yeah.
do enough. And instead of blowing teams out, they'll be playing close games, but they're going to still be able to hold people under 25. I would say more often than not. Um,
I
so I do
agree.
like
I
that,
mean,
but I do think it. Yeah, sorry.
no, you're good. I was just gonna say I think they bring a little bit more pause to me on defense as opposed to their
Mm.
offense. But just gotta kind of wait and see what's gonna happen. They're my second favorite team in the AFC East. You know my first favorite team, and we'll
Yeah,
get there.
fair. Fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah, I do. So I do like kind of where they're going this year, but I do think McDermott's going to be kind of put on notice this year, though. Too. I think
Yeah.
he's got to. It's going to be closer in the second round.
Yeah.
You can't get dog walked in the divisional round 3 straight years by Cincy and Kansas City, and then still expect to have a job at the end of the day.
I mean, I wouldn't necessarily say they ever got dog walked. They were always close. They just couldn't close. That's
Well, I mean,
mostly the
well,
case.
last year, yeah, last year, but even last year, I mean, you like that
I
game
mean,
was
they,
theirs to take. It
oh,
just
it's been theirs to take every year. They've
that's
choked it.
also true. Yeah,
Yeah.
but then what was it? 2 years ago, since he showed up, that was the
Oh, walked them. Yeah,
oh yeah,
they
just
walked them.
yeah, that was the 90% of Joe Burrow's resume at this point is just that pregame pass,
Yeah.
and then that happened. But yeah, no, I think I'm a little bit more bullish on them. Everybody's kind of selling their stock on the Bills, and I'll buy all of their stock this year.
Yeah, I feel that. Okay. All right,
All
where do you
right,
want to go next?
let's go down to the Dolphins here.
All right.
Um, you go ahead and start on this one.
Well, yeah, you guys will
You have
come to
stronger
find out.
feelings.
Yeah, you guys will come to find out. I love the Dolphins. Big fan. Love Mike McDaniel. Love Tua. I think they'll probably be pretty high up there this year with the additions they made. Um, on defense, on offense, they're still adding. Um, I think Mike McDaniel's probably top five coach in the NFL right now, offensively at least. Smart man, knows how to run an offense. Now, Asher does not agree with my takes at all, but that's kind of how we roll. Uh,
Yeah,
wanna,
I have too many question marks about the Dolphins. That's just my thing. It's just like Tua just doesn't do enough for me in terms
Yeah.
of big games, not even cold weather, but just like, I don't know, does he have to wear long sleeves? Like, are we going to be the same quarterback in, DC in November? Like,
Yeah.
it's not the same. Tyreek Hill left a bad taste in my mouth after that Chiefs game last year. He did not look right. I don't know what the hell was going on with him.
I I think a lot of that game was just nobody was on the same page. Everybody knew they were
It
gonna
was
get
just weird.
go in
And
there.
I think Mike McDaniel's a really smart dude. Like, I have a lot of respect for him.
Yeah.
He's from the Shanahan tree. Like, of course he's going to know offense. Like,
Yeah,
everybody
yeah.
that gets
Came
plucked
out of
from
there.
Shanahan's staff does well. It's
Yeah.
just he's got to start winning some games too, some big games. He's got to make
Yeah.
it happen. Like, I feel like there's like weirdly a lot of pressure on this Dolphins team. I think like everybody's talking about, okay, everybody's expecting the Bills to take a step back. Like we just said, we don't, but like so many people are expecting the Bills to take a step back. But and it's like, okay, this is your year, Miami. Let's kind of get it into gear. I don't need them to go to the Super Bowl.
No, no.
I don't
I
even need.
think they're
I
gonna be
honestly, I don't even think I need to see them in the AFC Championship game to feel better about them. I just need them to win a playoff game for me to
I
actually buy into Tua. And I don't know. Mike McDaniel's under a different scope for me now because he
yeah.
signed off on giving Tua $55 million a year. When you're stuck with him and he's on a rookie contract, that's one thing. But once you pay him, all right, you signed up for it. Now you got to make it work too.
Yeah. No, I think they're gonna perform. I think they'll show out. If they finish top two in the AFC, they'll get a home game. So that's less of a worry about cold weather there.
You just
Doing
gotta
that,
hope a
easier
good
said than
matchup.
done.
That
Yeah.
is extremely true. Yeah,
Yeah, for
and I
sure.
don't know. The defense worries me a little bit too. Losing Wilkins, I don't think is a small thing. I don't think it's not everything, but it's not nothing either.
Yeah.
And Vic Fangio going to Philly, I don't. Who did they end up signing for a D coordinator? I forget. Who did they bring on? But just assume the
Yeah.
defense is gonna at least
Be
it's
better.
on the table. They're gonna take a step
Yeah.
back.
Oh. Oh.
I think. That's what I would be concerned
No,
about.
no,
Is
nobody
like
liked Vic though. Like if you hear old reports out of there, they did not get along with Vic.
that's fair. Vic Fangio is also just a really good D coordinator.
No, for sure.
Didn't work as a head coach because again the personality thing, but like the dude can run a defense.
Yeah.
And we'll get into that with the Eagles then too. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of concerns with Miami
Yeah.
where I wouldn't be surprised if they're a 11, 12 win team, but I'm also not going to be surprised if they go 8 and 9 and are out of the playoffs by week 14.
Yeah, I mean, I can see both sides of the coin.
Yeah.
There's a couple of teams that I'm sure we'll talk about here in the next 15
Oh
minutes that are
yeah.
going to be like that.
Which speaking of both sides of the coin here, New York Jets. I I mean, what are they? Who are like? Just none of it makes sense. Everybody's like, you revamped the O line, but you got Tyron Smith, who's been around forever and has been increasingly more injury prone. Um, they got Morgan Moses from the Ravens, like that pickup, but also Ravens are well run.
Yeah.
Not even just being a homer. Like, I think it's well known, well documented. The Ravens are well run. They're not just letting guys go just because. So I would say that there's some concern there. And let me double check how old he is too, because he's not young.
He's in his 30s, early
I was going to
30s.
say, I can't remember how old off the top of my head. He's 33. So,
33.
he might
I
have
would have said
another
32 for
year or
you.
two left. They're going all in. I'll give them credit for that.
Yeah.
Going all in.
They don't have much of a choice, so
That's exactly true too. And I was going to say that too. It's just like, yeah, you're propping up a quarterback that hasn't been good in 2 years, didn't play all of last year. He's coming off an Achilles. And the picture that they put out that even the NFL posted on Twitter too of
oh
year
yeah.
20 with Rodgers, I'm like,
He looks
I've
rough.
seen that guy at my hometown bar like every night. He
Yeah.
looks like
I
he
mean,
smells like wintergreen and Keystone Light. Like I don't don't know how else to explain it. Like
yeah, if yeah, to really get into the Jets, like their defense, it's gonna be good. Nobody has questions about it.
yes,
It's the
that's
question marks are the offense and how well is Aaron gonna perform at the end of the day.
yeah.
So if Aaron is 2020 Aaron Rodgers MVP caliber year, yeah, they're gonna make the playoffs. They're gonna be
Oh,
good.
for
They're gonna be
sure.
competitive. But you can't guarantee that.
Right. Yeah, like if and my concern is too is like the back-to-back MVP years. Yes, he had a lot of say in the offense, but that was still Matt LaFleur.
Yeah,
Nat Hackett wasn't calling plays, and now he's the OC and is going to be calling plays. And we
yeah,
saw what that looked like once, and it was an absolute disaster.
yeah,
Now, granted, that's Russell Wilson versus Aaron Rodgers, but I just there's just again unknowns and not a lot of reason to buy in.
yeah.
Now the NFL gave them, did them a real solid with the schedule at the beginning of the year, outside of the Niners game, which also getting the Niners week one might be a perfect time to get them. Trent
Yeah, I
Williams
don't know
hasn't
if
been in camp. I mean,
I don't agree with that, but
what's that? You get Niners week
well,
one?
yeah, the Steelers had Niners week one last year. I don't want to talk about it.
Well, they had Niners week one last year without all the drama.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, that's fair. And possibly no Christian McCaffrey, and if he does play, he's not going to be 100%. I'm just saying, like,
Yeah, I
this
get
is
what you're
going to be the
saying.
worst the Niners look all year is going to be
Yeah,
week one. They're going to be
yeah,
fresh, so like they're catching a little bit of break on that, and then they get I think Titans in the first 5 weeks. They get like Titans. I think they get the Pats early. I think maybe the Cardinals have to double check their schedule here. I don't have it pulled up on here right now, but
hmm
um, they could go on a little bit of a run to start the year.
yeah,
Yeah, we got Niners week one. Then they go to Tennessee at home against the Patriots, home against the Broncos, and then to the Vikings to start the year.
hmm
Those are
hmm
your first 5 games.
yeah, especially the Vikings.
However, oh yeah, for sure. Um, the flip side to that is they're 2-3 going into play the Bills in week 6.
You
Are
talking worst
we
case
looking?
scenario?
I'm talking worst case scenario.
Okay.
I don't. 2-3. Are we looking at Nat Hackett, interim coach?
No, they're not. No.
Because like the Salah's got to be on a short leash. The weird stuff that happened with training or the OTAs and everything like that
I
with
mean, they're still gonna
Rodgers and because I don't like they're saying it's all good, but I don't really buy it. I don't
in the whole.
think Rodgers
Yeah,
likes him. So
fair.
and they're
Yeah,
gonna do what Rodgers wants. If Rodgers wants him gone by week 6, like
yeah,
it's definitely on the table.
yeah, yeah. And then there's that whole situation with Hassan Reddick. Just don't know
Yeah,
what's going on there. It's so odd.
yeah. They tried to beef up the D line, and Eagles just keep swindling everybody. Like
Yeah.
they're just stealing
We'll
everything
talk.
right now.
Yeah, we'll talk
Yeah.
about that later. All
All
right.
right. This should be a pretty quick one here. Oh, the Pats.
Yeah. Be
All I really
interesting.
care. Yeah, all I really care about is I don't think Drake May should touch the field until like week 16 when you're out of it, and then just go listen, dude. Nothing matters. Just go out there and sling it and see what happens.
Yeah, but I'm also a big proponent about playing your best players, and he's been their best quarterback on that roster right now.
Well, I don't disagree with that.
Yeah.
Um,
I
I
mean,
just
I just don't agree with like punting the year just for that.
I think they just have too many holes to. Like they know they're not going to be competitive. If you think you're going to be competitive, you at least hold on to Matt Judon until the trade deadline.
So I heard today or yesterday that he did not mesh well with the team at all. Nobody really
Judon.
got along with him. Yeah.
I knew he wanted a new contract, and that was part of it.
Yeah, but he's not
because
even getting a new contract in Atlanta.
yeah, or no, that was the other thing. No, he wanted to play for a contract. I was sorry, I got that flip flop
Yeah,
there because the Bears wanted Bears also offered a third round for him, but it was with the only way they were going to accept it was if he signed a 3 year deal,
yeah, and he
and
wanted.
he declined. So then they were like, "All right, we're out," and then he went down to Atlanta. Um, so I guess I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. It's weird. I don't. I think Drake May's just too raw.
Yeah,
Um,
that's fair.
like he's still just learning, and I would. And with that receiving core, their
Hey
weapons,
man,
they have none. They have no weapons.
Jalen Polk and Javon Baker, they could surprise us. You never know.
I'm I'm not gonna I'm not gonna put any money on that.
No,
Um,
no, no. I wouldn't put money on it either.
I
But if
just
you
think
look
it's
at my,
better. Sorry, go ahead.
no, I was just gonna say, if you look at my dynasty shares of Javon Baker, it's 100%.
Well, that's true. Yeah, you're always scouting these random ass like guys that are fourth on the depth chart to start the year.
That's how you get them. All right, but yeah, what were you
That's
saying?
fair. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I wouldn't. I'd be extra cautious with him. I wouldn't want to
Yeah,
shake any confidence on him. You used a third overall pick on him. I think you just let him learn. Take your lumps with Brissett. See what you have with Gerard Mayo as a coach. Can he keep the D in line? If he's 70% of Bill Belichick, you'll take that as a win,
yeah,
honestly.
yeah. At the end of the day,
And just go, all right, is the locker room good? Cool. We know we're not going to be good. We'll take our high draft pick next year. I mean, hell, you could flirt with getting the number one pick. You took your quarterback of the future, allegedly, trade back, and you can get multiple pieces. You can get O line help, a weapon, and then we can really get going with Drake May
yeah,
being you know
yeah. I
progressing.
get that. I get that idea. I don't think that's what's happening, but yeah,
I don't think it's going to happen either,
yeah,
and that scares me. And then we're just
yeah.
going to be the Patriots of I don't know
Yesteryear.
before our lifetime when they were
Yeah.
basically irrelevant for so long. Like I don't know, I just don't they just don't seem like a well run operation anymore.
No, no, they never have been.
Yeah,
But that's a story for a different day. We should probably
true.
move on now.
That's entirely fair too. All right. Here, our division here, AFC North.
Hmm.
What do we want to start with here?
Well, let's do the same thing, top to bottom.
Top to bottom. All right. All right. We'll start with my boys.
Yeah,
Start with the Ravens here. I am cautiously optimistic from a fan's perspective.
yeah,
I I'm nervous about the King Henry situation. I like it on paper. I love it. In practice, I'm curious how it's all going to work. The other thing
yeah.
that concerns me is Lamar slimmed down this year.
Oh,
He dropped some weight.
I mean, he bulked
Um,
up last year
he bulked
and
up
slimmed
last
back
year,
out.
yeah, and I liked that
Interesting.
version of Lamar because he was.
Hmm.
I mean,
He
he was
was
so good
swinging
at
it
not
too.
getting hit. Yeah, and
Yeah.
that was the other thing too. He looked more comfortable in the
Hmm.
pocket too.
Hmm.
Um, so I like the idea of them committing to the run a little bit even more this year because they just didn't in the AFC Championship game. I was like, that's my whole thing. Bad taste in my mouth. um, like they just never committed to establishing a run
Yeah.
game and just
Yeah.
gave up on it, and it got away from them. Um, so that's my biggest and also losing Mike McDonald. I don't love
Yeah.
that. I mean, when your
Yeah.
nickname in the building is Boy Genius and you're gone, I don't think the defense is going to be bad. Like I don't think that's possible.
Okay.
um,
Yeah.
just because again, it's the Ravens. They always run well. Defense is always good. Like even their bad defenses are better than most teams. Um, I do think the Patrick Queen loss is a little overplayed because nobody was a huge fan of him until Roquan Smith showed up and started kind of covering a lot of his flaws.
Yeah.
So I I'm not as concerned about that, but I think the game planning will be a little bit weird. I could see them getting off to a slow start, and then
Okay.
that just kind of concerns me more than anything.
Yeah. I mean, I think they'll still be very competitive. I mean, it's the most competitive division in football by far.
Oh yeah,
It constantly flip-flops. You don't actually know what you're getting into every year. So, like, to even just try to debate who's going to come out on top is actually pointless.
yeah,
So, I'll take it at face value. Defense is going to be good. Offense is going to be good. Offensive line is probably your biggest question mark there, for being
that's true.
honest. Derrick Henry is 29 years old, 30 years old, however, coming off of back-to-back regression seasons.
Mhm.
That's your lead guy. Outside of that, you just have Keaton Mitchell, and he's coming off of a Achilles or ACL?
ACL.
ACL. So you really don't have anything behind Derrick Henry, which is kind
Yeah,
of
that's
scary.
that's been my thing. Is like the reason I do like the Henry signing is he's going to be the feature guy, but it's also going to cover Keaton Mitchell for the
Yeah,
first like 2 months. If you can
yeah,
get let Derrick Henry kind of just go all out for a month and a half or so, and then kind of let Keaton Mitchell kind of work himself back in, and then you have a split backfield where Derrick Henry's
yeah,
not killing himself every game. um, like I think, yeah, early on Henry's going to get a lot of touches, but mid-season he's not getting 20 carries. I
no,
don't see how they're gonna do that because they did get him on fairly a bargain too. So I wouldn't be concerned about how he feels about that. He's got his money. You're just preserving him, and then he gets his second year out of it more than likely with that.
yeah, no.
But uh,
All right, I mean, we're on the same page for the most part.
mhm. That and the only other thing is I'm I'm high on likely this year. I think he's gonna pop. I
Oh, we
mean,
we've
I
talked about this. Yeah.
yeah, we yeah, you and I've talked about it a lot. I'm big on it this year. I think when Andrews was down last year, Lamar looked so much better because he does that from time to time. Where if he gets into a little funk mid game, he just only looks for Mark Andrews, and like
Yeah.
he's just tries to get on the ball. He just wants to see one go through. Without Mark Andrews, he kind of forced him to spread the ball around and just take what was available to him.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, likely was that guy.
I mean,
So,
he's just that young athletic guy that you look for, the new age tight end that
oh
people
yeah,
want. So if
and willing blocker too. He's
yeah,
a big
yeah.
body.
So if you get him and Andrews in that dual set, run two tight ends more often, it
Oh
opens
yeah,
up the offense a lot more for Zay and whatever other receivers you guys decide to sign that week.
that's fair. Steve Smith still available?
All right.
Man, I just
Let's
hope Bateman's healthy. All right, let's
yeah.
go on to we'll hit your guys, your Steelers. This is a
I was gonna
fun one.
say yeah. We'll do the Steelers.
Let's do this. Let's get our stuff out of the
Yeah.
way
We'll
here.
just yeah get it out of the way. I'll make it quick. Steelers scare me for sure. Their back half of the schedule is the hardest in football by far,
Mm-hmm.
and that's very nerve-wracking because if you're not hitting your stride by then, you're just gonna get dominated. You have all six divisional games at the end of the season. On top of that, you also play the Eagles and the Chiefs. It's not going to be pretty. So if you don't win those early games that you're supposed to, you're done for. And we're going to week one. We still don't know who our quarterback is. That's a problem.
Did
Um,
Russell get named? I thought
no, no,
no. There.
no.
Okay, I thought there was like a
They're
lingering.
using practice for the rest of the week to
Oh,
figure that
no,
out.
great. Yeah, that's a good way to go
Fantastic.
about it. Yeah.
Um, we're already banged up. We don't have a wide receiver. We barely have a wide receiver one, let alone a wide receiver two. And the offensive line is already getting called into question. So it's great. I think if they figure it out, they're a playoff team. If they don't figure it out, could be a top 10 pick. I don't know. Um, but that's just my unbiased take. My biased take is they're going to go 11 and 6 and make the playoffs. but that's obviously not how I truly feel.
Yeah.
I'm happy
I
I
don't know.
don't have to watch Kenny Pickett every day. So positives.
Tiny hands.
Tiny hands, man.
Um, I don't know. I think it all depends on how much Tomlin cares about not having a losing season. Like
I
if
think he
there's like work behind the scenes of like, okay, hey, this is our last dance. We're go our separate ways. It's just, it's time for a change, which I think they should do. I think it works for everybody. Just, kind of reset everything. I think Tomlin would do him the solid and just roll Russell Wilson out there for 14 games, and then you are going to be picking high enough to get somebody in the draft next year. But if he's going to fight for this no losing
streak.
seasons thing, I mean, it's gonna just be weird all year.
So
You're not gonna know who's starting from week to week. They're gonna play matchups. I don't know. I just think it's weird. And you and I talked about it too. I'm out on Artie Smith. I don't buy it. I think he was the product of he had Derrick Henry in his prime, who's a cheat code. The dude's huge. Like, yeah, give him the ball 30 times. Good
yeah,
things are gonna happen. He's just gonna run through people, and he's got breakaway speed. Like, it's just gonna work out for you like that.
yeah. I think there'll be a lot of interesting points. Tomlin is also just the type of person who doesn't like to lose. He's not
Yeah.
going to give up. So that first thought that you had is just not happening. He's not. It's just at the end of the day, it's not. He wants to win. He doesn't like to go out there and just give up.
hmm
So the team's going to be competitive every week. They're going to lose some close games. Their saving grace is that their defense is probably the best it's been in 5 years,
Yeah.
and it's been good the last 5 years. So we actually have four linebackers that could start almost on every single team, which is hasn't happened in the last decade
Oh,
since Shazier got
absolutely
hurt.
loaded on defense. I mean, it's.
It's
I mean, them and the
unbelievable.
Browns are. It's not fair. The talent that
Yeah,
they have on defense,
yeah.
it's absolutely insane. Um, and to your point about close games, I mean, I was making the joke too the other day. Every game's going to be close because there's not going to be any points scored.
Yeah. I mean, I
um,
wait. Well, there are they scored some points yesterday in the preseason game. It
but to
happened.
start, finally.
It was crazy. But again, I take preseason with a grain of salt. I mean, we look back at last year. Kenny Pickett looked like a Pro Bowl caliber quarterback. That's clearly not the case anymore.
No. Um, well, you got some action going on outside.
I gotta see if that's my car. Hold on. Oh, it's gone. Okay,
Fair.
we're good. I didn't know if I was getting robbed, so we're fine.
No, you're good. Yeah, no, I heard just a day or two ago it was Bear. We used to do the betting on College Game Day. They had him
Yeah.
on the herd, and they were talking about it, and they were talking about the Steelers, and he thought about taking their season total under, and he was like, had a guess about where it was, and it was much lower. I think he said it was somewhere in like 340
Oh wow.
for total points for the season. But that's my thing is like I don't know. Can you score 18 points on this Steelers defense? If you can, you got a great chance of winning that game.
Yeah. I mean, there's probably about 7 teams that could do that. Thinking off the
And
top of my head.
that's the annoying part. And it's got to be frustrating. It's like you're never going to be bad enough to get a guy.
Yeah.
Like you guys looked on Ben and
It's
looked out on
terrible.
Ben, and
It's
you got him at 11.
terrible. It's like the worst thing I've ever experienced in my life. I mean, last year I was openly rooting against this team, and they
Yeah.
still defied my odds.
Hey, you got six quarterbacks going in the first round, and now you're stuck with
They,
two guys that aren't even going to be on your roster next year.
yeah. I mean, to be fair, half those quarterbacks I wouldn't have wanted, but it's fine.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll
I
get into
wouldn't.
more of the rookie guys here too, and how I
Yeah.
feel about them because
Yeah.
I don't know. I think there's a lot of optimism with some of these, with all,
There's a
pretty
lot
much
of hope.
all
I
the
mean,
rookies. Honestly, I think. Yeah.
a lot,
Like,
lot of, lot of hope. I mean, all right. So let's get into
yeah.
our favorite team in this division, Cleveland.
Oh boy. I mean,
I have a hot take. I think they're going to finish at the bottom, just because I think Deshaun Watson is officially washed.
oh yeah.
Yeah,
Bottom of the
it's
division or bottom of the league?
Bottom of the division, not league.
Oh, I don't think that's a hot take. I have them finish. Yeah, I
Yeah.
would say they're going to finish
Okay.
last too.
Well,
Yeah,
it might be a
but
hot take to everybody else.
that's fair. I just think that I don't know. It's weird because them and the Steelers are the same thing, really.
There's yeah, good defense,
Absolutely loaded on
questionable
defense.
offense.
Yeah, except the Browns have Amari Cooper, who will just cover some flaws basically.
Yeah, yeah. The Steelers have young George Pickens, question marks around
Yeah,
that. It's just
they,
yeah, they're one and the
and
same. We'll see what they do.
yeah, and like I don't know, it's weird too for me with the Browns because it's the Browns and poorly run, as we all know.
Yeah.
But like, it's weird to think that Stefanski might end up on the hot seat, even though he's won 2 Coach of the Years. But
Which
like,
is
I
I
don't
still
think
don't
there's
agree
a
with,
single
but
person that's going to be shocked if he's fired after the year because
I
they
mean,
go 6-11. Like
if they do anything worse than 7 and what is it, 7 and 10,
7-10.
there's big question marks there. Like, how do
Yeah,
you
because
go
I mean
from
they
just
can't do anything with Deshaun. They have a fully guaranteed contract
yeah,
unless
he's
they're
set in for the
willing to
next two
eat.
years.
Yeah, if they're willing to eat that dead cap like Denver was,
Yeah,
sure, but like I don't think they're gonna be bad enough to be in a
no,
position like Denver was to go get a guy.
no,
Like I don't know, they're a mess right now, and
yeah, for
it's
sure.
unfortunate because there's a lot of dudes on that team. I know. I mean, obviously, we know your feelings on Miles Garrett, but the dude's great. I mean, like you
Oh,
can't question that. Like he's
he's a great
an
player,
amazing player.
insane
That defense
athlete.
is loaded. I mean, you got guys everywhere on that defense, and then
Yeah, Denzel
Nick
Ward
Chubb
did
is
just get hurt again.
what's that?
Denzel Ward got another concussion the other day in practice.
I mean, that might be a blessing in disguise for them too. Just
Yeah.
tack on an extra loss or two there, hopefully. But I mean, Nick Chubb's a. I mean, does anybody have anything bad to say about Nick Chubb? Dude is
He's a
never
good
in
guy.
any
Good
news, and
guy.
he's just productive. So
Yeah.
I feel bad for
Unfortunate.
everybody
Yeah.
else. Like so many guys on that roster and Stefanski, just because they're stuck in Cleveland and that place is a
Yeah.
mess.
Yeah.
Cincy, another team with massive question marks. I could see this team win the division going away.
Yeah.
But I also don't know what's going on with Joe Burrow and his health. And they always have slow starts. And there's all the question marks
Yeah.
about how bad that wrist injury actually was. Like, if he's going to be able to hold a football properly anymore. Like, I don't, like,
I
I
I
need to
think a lot
see
of it's
something from them.
yeah, I think we're gonna get into that and see that early in the year.
Yeah,
Jamar Chase practiced today. I did see that.
that's good.
So at
But you got
least
your two best
have
receivers
him
with
back.
contract stuff going on now, too.
Yeah, I mean T. Higgins is already just saying I'm gonna play this out. You guys are gonna let me walk and we're gonna call it a wash.
No.
So you have that going. Their defense is always questionable. They just let teams run it up on them, and that's why their offense is always producing and playing.
But then
So
they'll have like a month stretch where the defense is lights out. Like they
yeah,
have
yeah, yeah,
like they're a good pass rush, I should say. And like
yeah,
if
yeah,
they're getting downhill, like they can hold teams down. But I mean, if they run into something where like Hendrickson's not getting free,
yeah.
then it gets a little hairy for him.
Like if you're telling me to flip a coin in a shootout between them and Miami, I'm taking Miami 10 times out of 10.
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
As long as it's in Miami and it's
Oh,
85
even
degrees.
I mean, even if it's in Cincy, I might take
But
them.
since in December.
Um,
But yeah, no, I don't know. It's weird. And then the Zach Moss thing.
yeah, he didn't play a snap this preseason. He's basically the starter. I
I,
mean, it's your
like I don't
RB.
think Joe
It's
Mixon
whatever.
is top tier, but like
No.
he's productive. When well
Yeah,
had
yeah,
been. Now, granted, I think they're
yeah.
moving off on him at a good time because he's getting up there now too. He's what 28,
2026, turning
27, 28.
27.
Oh, I thought he was a little bit older than that. So
No, no.
fair enough. I thought he
Um,
had
Yeah, he just signed that 3-year extension down in
No, he's
Houston.
28.
He's 28.
He's 28, just turned 28.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
so he's getting. I thought he was a little bit older there. He was like sneaky, been around for a while.
That's a
So
dangerous contract now. Now that you say
yeah,
that.
extremely. And we'll get into Houston there and a lot of thoughts I have there. But
Um,
um, yeah, I don't know. That and the Zach Taylor stuff is like I still don't know if Zach Taylor's a good coach.
I think they'll be good this year. That's my
I
overall opinion. I think
given
it'll be
health,
between them and Baltimore, given what we've
it's
seen
going
in
to
the
be health
past.
dependent. I mean, health dependent
Yeah.
for everybody,
Oh,
but
for
like
sure.
even more so with Cincy because Joe
Yeah.
Burrow has
Well, I
one
mean,
healthy season under his belt.
yeah, but Jake Browning did come in last year. He produced so well for no reason. So
That's true.
if that's who your number two guy is, and you got to rely on. That's cool. But if Joe Burrow is healthy for the entire year, you're looking at a
Yeah,
top
then
five
they're
team
a really
probably.
scary team to deal with, and
Yeah,
nobody's
yeah,
going to
yeah,
want to play them.
yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, that's going to be a fun division to kind of break down, especially when we do predictions later on.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, AFC South. I am going to have a lot of fun with this division. I think this is the most fun division to kind of think about, just
Because it's
top to bottom.
we're gonna be all over the place. I already know this. We're gonna have a lot
Oh
of
yeah, we're
different
going to be
opinions.
everywhere on this, and I think
This
the
is the
division's going
one
to be everywhere.
division. This is the one division we're gonna be so far apart on, and it's so
Yes.
funny because I
Oh
know who
yeah.
your favorite team is, and why don't you start with them?
All right, let's go with the Jags. All I will die on the hill with Trevor Lawrence, first of all.
Yep.
But bias aside, I think the pendulum has swung too far in the other direction on them.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think I heard somebody saying a hot take that they were going to finish last in the division. I do not see a world where that is possible. That defense is underrated. Um, I think Brian Thomas losing Calvin Ridley, don't love it. But then you bring in Brian Thomas, who's cheaper and is going. I mean, if you look up and he has the same numbers as Calvin Ridley at the end of the year, are you going to be shocked?
If hold on. If Brian
Calvin
Thomas
Ridley
goes
last,
for he hit over 1,000 yards. You know how many
yeah,
rookie receivers go over 1,000? Very few. So if he goes over 1,000 yards his rookie year,
when he's going to
that's
be
unbelievable.
kind of a
So
feature guy
if he's all right,
with
if he's
Kirk.
75% of what Calvin Ridley was, then yeah, I take that rookie year. If he's everything Calvin Ridley was, he's unbelievable.
I'm gonna pull this up here real quick because like I'm just saying like if Brian Thomas finishes with 1,100 yards, are you going to be blown away?
I'll be shocked, dude, if Brian Thomas finishes with 1,100 yards.
See, I
Sign me.
don't.
He's dynasty
I'm
wide
saying sign
receiver
me up for that.
five.
I'm
Yeah,
not
yeah,
saying,
yeah,
but I'm just like saying like so
yeah.
Calvin
What
Ridley last year. Let's look at. I'm just going to pull his numbers up here real quick.
yeah.
He had last year. He had 76 receptions, 1,016 yards, 8 touchdowns. I'm not including the touchdowns, but I'm saying if Brian
If
Thomas
he
gets to a
does,
thousand
all right.
yards,
I'll say this: if he does 80% of that, I'm all in. I love Brian Thomas. I think he's gonna fit that offense really well. I wanted him in Pittsburgh. That's beside the point.
yep.
Um, but I just don't see necessarily that happening. Just because that offense is going through some change. You're seeing some different looks. You're seeing now contract Trevor Lawrence. He's gonna be expected more. He has to. Like you're paying that guy 50 plus $1 million. I gotta see it. Same thing with you and Tua. I gotta see it with him.
That's fair. That's fair. Yeah, and I like as supportive as I am of Trevor Lawrence. I'm not going to dispute flaws. Like he fumbles too
Yeah,
much, definitely.
yeah.
I mean, that's been a huge criticism of Danny Dimes. Like he does fumble too much, and it's often wet in Jacksonville. Not a great combo. um, but like, there's nothing outside of that. Like, there's nothing not to like about Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah.
Size, athleticism, arm strength, accuracy. Like the dude,
Yeah,
everything's
he's
there. It's just all got to come together, and we did see that for what a 7 8 week stretch 2 years ago, And people forget last
Okay.
year they were 8-3 fighting for the top of the conference, and then he gets his ankle rolled up on in the Cincy game, and he just wasn't the same after that. So I think health is going to be big with them. I think Peterson is really going to, has a lot of faith in him, and that's going to make him feel a lot more comfortable. Um,
Yeah.
I
I just
I will
think
be
the
the last one to
divisions.
leave the Jags and Trevor Lawrence.
That's fine. That's fine. I won't be. I think that division's just a lot tougher this year than it was 2 years ago when he did that. You have new looks in Indy, Tennessee, and Houston.
Mhm.
It's not that same. It's just not. So I'm curious to see how the team adjusts overall to what you're seeing now.
Yeah,
But yeah,
yeah, yeah. It is a perfect year, but I feel like I don't know. I don't feel like there's as much pressure on
yeah,
Lawrence, weirdly enough, than like the Tua situation because there's just
yeah,
so
yeah,
much more like media hype around Miami and the Dolphins because you have Tyreek Hill, you have Jalen Waddle, you have
yeah.
big names,
Which is
and Mike
hilarious
McDaniel that
because
draws a lot of attention.
yeah, if you look, the national media projects that, but if you look at like the fantasy scope of it and people who watch like do all the fantasy content, they're like flipped. They
Yeah,
trust Tua more than they trust T-Law, which is crazy.
yeah, that's fair. But I care about the real world, Dom, not this fucking fantasy bullshit.
I was just bringing up a
This
point.
is
That's
why
all.
you kick my ass every year.
All right. Where you want to go to
That's why I just
Houston?
give you all my money at
Yeah,
the end of
I
the
love
year.
taking it.
I know it's great. I'm happy to pay for that apartment for you.
Yeah.
All right, Texans. Let's just get the other controversy out of the way here. You go ahead and start on them. I want to see
This
how.
whole division's controversy.
Oh, that is true. There's a lot of question
Um,
marks here.
I mean, I like Houston. I'm gonna just flat out say it. They're probably gonna win the division again. I love D'Amico Ryans. He's a great coach. Obviously, there's a lot of personality in that offense. With the addition of Joe Mixon and Stephon Diggs specifically. We'll see that they're on paper by far the best team. Um, how's that gonna translate to the regular season with, like I said, the changing of that division? It'll be interesting. But I still think they'll probably win, be the best team there. But I don't really know.
Yeah, I mean, there's not much not to like. Um,
Yeah,
I'll give away my prediction. I do have the Jags winning that division, but
that's
I
not a
have them
shock.
finishing. I have them finishing with the same record there too.
Oh, okay.
So I think it's gonna come down to a tiebreaker somewhere
You
in
just
that.
think Jags get
I
ahead.
think
I gotcha.
yeah, because like I think a lot of people are kind of anointing Houston a little bit prematurely.
I mean,
Like,
but that's what this is for.
well,
You
that's true
give your
too.
prediction,
Yeah,
yeah.
I just think that like at the very least it's on the table a sophomore
Yeah,
slump for CJ Stroud. Um, the Mixon we just went over his age. How productive is he going to be? I think there's potential again it's on
hmm
the table that like okay we just committed to a guy that's not going to produce for us and the dig stuff. I mean they might try to feed him early, make him comfortable, but I mean if there's a 3 week stretch where he's only getting 5 targets,
yeah,
he's shown that he's not scared to let that be known that he's not happy with that.
yeah,
Um, whether it's I mean I'm not gonna discredit the guy because like hey you're passionate whatever like it's not a knock but if you're getting loud like it's gonna cause problems especially when you have Nico Collins and Tank Dell like you got three guys there that you're gonna have to feed in different
yeah,
ways and if
yeah, for
one
sure.
of them's getting loud and he's in a contract year they've said they're gonna it's gonna be kind of a tight leash or short leash for him that like okay if it does become a problem like they're just gonna cut him but like you know,
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
there's still room for it blowing up for a little bit. And I'm just saying, like, I wouldn't be shocked if there's just a lot of noise between everybody watching them Stephon Diggs in the locker room. They go on like a 3 game skid where it's weird, it's clunky. Even if they go like 1-2 over, or like 1-3 in the course of a month, like that division's going to be tight and it's not going to be easy. Like there's no easy division games, I think,
No,
in this one here. Like
no, they're all going to be dogfights, same as the AFC North. It's
yeah,
competitive now. It's not like it was 2 years ago, like I was saying.
yeah,
Each
exactly.
team brings something different to the table, and that's what you kind of got to look for and game plan for.
Yeah.
It's
All
not
right,
like
let's
you have a, the Patriots
right.
in there. It's
Yeah, and a lot of stuff that could just be surprising, like
yeah,
the Colts. Let's go on to the Colts here.
yeah,
I'll let you start off on this one because I know you're bullish on them.
yeah. So Colts are my favorite team in this division. I'm a big Anthony Richardson guy. I think he might shock some people one way or another. He could shock me and be awful. He could shock everybody else and be great. But I just like the team as a whole. Offensive line is always good. They have JT. They just added another receiver in Mitchell, AD Mitchell, and so they have Josh
Adonai,
Downs. Yeah,
Adonai Mitchell,
Josh
yeah.
Downs, AD Mitchell, and Michael Pittman. Good group there. Offense looks like it's set up for success. They re-signed a bunch of guys on defense, basically brought them all back, and they were competitive last year with Minshew. So I expect them to be competitive again with a Rich who has higher upside, bigger
Yeah, I mean,
by like 5 inches. They're gonna show out.
if Minshew completes a 5 yard out route, they're in the playoffs and not the Texans. And the
Exactly.
Texans are. That's the other thing with, just go back to the Texans for a hot second. That's the other thing with them where I'm like, all right, can everybody just pump the brakes on them just a little bit. Everybody's putting them in the
Well,
AFC Championship game. It's like
the
it was that
the
close. They almost missed the playoffs last year.
the Steelers shouldn't have been in the playoffs, but I don't want to get into
That
that.
too. That's fair. But yeah, no, I mean, I'm with you too. I am. Let's go more than skeptical of Anthony
Yeah,
Richardson. I am very untrusting of him, but I think he's in a great position, a great
yeah,
situation. I mean, you
and
got
that
Steichen, who's been unbelievable. Like getting that team again, being that close to making the playoffs last year with that team, that should not have happened.
no, not
What
at
he
all.
did with Jalen Hurts 2 years ago, um, unbelievable. Like
Yeah,
that dude is here to stay. And he does not
he's a
get
good
talked
coach.
about enough. Like I think he's going to be a household name
Yeah.
sooner rather than later. Yeah, it's all just going to come down to A Rich. Like, is he going
Hmm.
to be Cam or is he going to flame out?
Yeah.
Like, and either just deal with
Yeah.
injuries or
If
is he
he's
just
like
never going to be accurate?
if he becomes Trey Lance, that's a problem. But if he
Yes.
becomes Cam, that and Cam that's Cam in a better situation than Cam was ever in.
Yeah, exactly.
So like that's insane to me.
Yeah,
And
it is
that's what
wild.
you're shooting for. He's in a great position to succeed, and if they get it done, it's
They're going to be
falls
scary.
to the walls, man. Yeah,
Oh, yeah. And then we have the Titans, which I think I've gone through the cycle of emotions with Will Levis about a
dude,
dozen times in the last 18 months.
I love Will
Um,
Levis.
and there's a lot I like about it.
Yeah,
I just, I'm just waiting for it all to come together because he's got flash. There's flashes where you
yeah.
go, holy shit, that dude can play. But then there's flashes where you're like, all right, well,
I mean,
Tennessee's
he
just going to
was
be nothing for a few years.
to combat that, he was also on the worst offensive line team in the league. He
100%.
he had D Hop for half a season essentially. He didn't have anything outside of that. They added to that position this year. They helped out their offensive line. It's still not great, but it's better than it was.
Mm.
So you got to bank on that improvement. Their defense is better now. Signed and traded for L'Jarius Sneed, so you got that bonus there. it's just you can't be much worse. I mean,
Yeah,
it's
that is true. Like, I still don't
yeah.
think they're going to be great. Like, I don't
It's gonna
like, I
be
don't see
tough
them winning the division or anything like that. But I think
if
they're
they
just
if
going to
they
be a
win.
fun team to watch.
Yeah, if they go 7-10, I think that's a success.
Yeah, yeah, and just see what you have with Levis.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
see what it is at the end of the year. It's like, all right, this is our guy moving forward, and get him
yeah.
some youth on the outside, not just Tyler Boyd, Calvin Ridley, and
Three three
Nuke. Like,
30-year-old receivers.
exactly,
Yeah,
get him somebody that's going to be with him for a few years. That would be
yeah,
nice, and then
yeah. I agree.
beef up the O line a little bit more and just protect the guy. But I, they're not going to be an easy out though.
No,
Like, I don't
no,
think
it'll
they're
be
going to.
tough.
Yeah, they're not a 10-win team, but they're not going to be, you know, I don't think people are going to be like excited to play them every week. You know what I
No,
mean?
yeah,
Especially after like the
it'll be
first month. Like, first month, yeah, everybody's just figuring shit out. And
yeah,
team that's not going to be good, like, that's kind of what you're going to deal with. But
yeah,
I
it'll be
think
tough. But
that'll be a fun watch too.
yeah, AFC North and AFC South are gonna be my two favorite divisions to watch. I think.
Yeah. Um, yeah, it's, there's a lot. There's a lot going on with both of those.
It's yeah, so much dynamic. I love it. All right, let's
Yeah.
move on to the least
AFC
dynamic
West.
division. Yeah.
Yeah, this one I feel like we can kind of just blow through, and it's really not.
Uh,
I mean, okay,
all right.
Chiefs
We'll start at the
pencil 'em in
top.
for
Yeah,
yeah, Chiefs pencil 'em in
yeah.
for 12 wins and
Outside,
the AFC
barring,
Championship.
yeah, barring a Mahomes injury, it's just guaranteed.
Yeah,
They're going to
I
be
think he's going to have a
competitive.
lot more fun. I mean, this isn't a flashy pick or anything like that, but I mean,
No,
and he's the favorite for the MVP, but it's just a good bet this year. I think he's going to air it out. I think he's excited to have
yeah,
some guys that can burn on the outside. And
for the
if,
first time since
yeah,
Tyreek left. Yeah,
right,
you
yeah.
got
Like, I
two
mean, you
guys.
got
I mean,
Worthy
if
and Hollywood that
I mean
are going to be
Hollywood's going to
moving.
be out. Yeah, Hollywood be out for a few weeks, but once he comes back, it'll be
Right.
same thing. So we'll see what
Yeah.
goes on. But
Yeah, I think it's just going to be
I don't
it,
necessarily know if they'll miss
defense
him.
another year older, and they've been investing in that for a while.
Yeah,
Like, yeah, just pencil them in for the AFC Championship game. Where I mean that we're in 2000s Patriots level or Brady era of Patriots, where
yeah.
it's just
It's
like
just
I'm not
domination.
betting against them until they give me a
I see
reason
it.
to. At this
Yeah.
point, yeah. But yeah, I mean that's the easiest one we're going to go through. Chargers, that's going to be fun. I
All right.
am much higher on them than I think you are.
Yeah, you
Um,
definitely are.
I think I think their floor is 9 wins.
And I
I
think
think that's the absolute
I think
floor.
that's crazy. But
I just Harbaugh is just too good of a coach. Like, he walked into the Niners, they were supposed to be rebuilding. They go 13-3, and they're in the Super Bowl. Like, he's got say what you want about Dobbins and Gus Edwards. Yeah, I'm a little bit biased towards him just because the whole Ravens thing. But, like, he's going to use them, and he's going to
uh,
make that physical. They took Joe Alt, that is prime Jim Harbaugh pick. Like, they're gonna be physical. I'm
yeah,
not. The defense is still good. They still got guys on. I mean, you got two pass rushers. Derwin James is still there,
yeah,
and Harbaugh has shown pretty much everywhere he's gone. Not pretty much everywhere he's gone. He doesn't need receivers for that offense to work. I mean, his best receivers were Doug Baldwin at Stanford, who went in like the sixth, seventh round. He was a day 3 pick,
yeah.
and Michael Crabtree,
He had Anquan Bolden.
old Anquan Bolden. Let's not get carried away.
Still Anquan.
Yeah, Anquan Bolden, didn't he? Oh no, he came to the Ravens and then retired. So you
Yeah,
had, but it was still like the last stages of Anquan Bolden. I mean, all right, let's talk about D Hop now. We just talked about that. Like, it's like, yeah,
yeah.
D Hop's great, but like it's also like we're at
Yeah, I mean, but
the
yeah,
end of D
it's
Hop.
that I guess it's just more so the presence there.
Yeah,
Um, yeah. And then I guess yeah, you want to move on to
I mean, do you have any thoughts on the Chargers there?
do I have any thoughts? I mean, I think 9 wins is crazy as a floor. I think it's probably closer to six. Just given the dynamic of that division and how interesting the Chargers have been the last 4 years. Up and down, blowing out the Jags 28 to whatever it was at halftime and losing that game by multiple points. Obviously, I want to see it before I even really talk about it. I just I'm hesitant to say the least.
That's fair. Yeah, I mean, like with the Chargers, there you do have that. Like you just kind of expect something's going to go wrong, and it's
Yeah,
going to be almost comical that um, because it's just the Chargers. like
yeah.
you said too, it's just like they had Jags beat at halftime and then lose that game for
Yeah.
no reason. But that's also
And they
Brandon
got yeah.
Staley, and we've all kind of seen what Brandon Staley is at this point. And Jim Harbaugh is not that. He's a guy
No,
that's
no,
just going to
no,
come in
no.
and
I
right the
agree.
ship.
Yeah. I just think if he wants to run that offense the way he wants to, he didn't set it up the best way to do so heading into the season.
That's fair.
That's all. That's all. I'm curious to see what he does with what he has. But my only take is 9 wins as the floor, given what I see on paper, is crazy.
That's fair. Yeah, that is. I mean, I will say too. I mean, that's just a belief in Harbaugh, and
Yeah.
like, there's questions about Herbert and everything like that, but like the dude can play,
Yeah. I no, he
and
definitely
he's
can.
not going to need to be Patrick Mahomes. He's just going to need to make the passes that he's expected to make, and he
Yeah.
can do that with
Yeah, I
flying
agree.
colors. So
I agree.
I do like it there.
I agree.
Broncos.
Yeah, that's where I was gonna go.
Yeah, I've kind of come full circle on this. I was not high on Bo Nix at all. I
No,
think
I
I
don't
said
think a
that
lot
to
of
you.
people were.
Yeah, like I was just like, I don't really see it. Like there wasn't a lot of wow, but
Yeah.
he's accurate and he gets the ball out quickly,
Yeah.
and that's perfect for Sean Payton.
Yeah.
So
He's his new Breeze, which is what he needs.
exactly, yeah. Like he's made the Breeze comps, and like I'm not going that far
No,
because
no.
Breeze was just next level with that, but like it makes sense at least.
Hmm.
Like the dude's gonna be accurate. He's like again, I don't think they're gonna. I don't think 10 wins is on the table. I don't think a winning record is on the table for them. But I think they're going to be productive, and Sean Payton has his guy for at least the next
Yeah.
few years.
Yeah, yeah, for
And
sure.
I kind of like where it's at.
Yeah.
Not
I'm
a
with
lot of
you.
names anywhere. I mean, when Cortland Sutton's your one, like, how competitive are you really going to be? As good as
Yeah.
Sutton is, it's just like, you got the 13th best receiver in your own conference. Like,
Yeah.
it's just going to be very But I think they're
Yeah.
going to be better than expected.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of questions for that team, and
Mm.
we'll see. I mean, when you don't know who your RB1 is at this point, or
That's true.
RB2, or your RB3, it's a lot
it's,
of
I mean, when you have three guys that are productive, though, at least, and like have looked good at various
yeah.
points, it's not the worst problem to have, but also none of them are that guy either.
No, no,
Like, you don't
not
have a top
they're
tier guy,
RB.
but like,
Yeah, their
yeah, you're just kind of in the
RB2s
middle
are
there.
like complementary guys on almost every single team,
Yeah.
but none of them are gonna wow you at the end of the day.
Right. Yeah. They're like you said, too, like three second string running backs.
Yeah,
That's about what they have. But I don't know. I kind of like it because Sean Payton won a Super Bowl that way with Bush, Pierre Thomas, and
yeah.
who was the last one on that one? It was before
Is that
Chris.
Juice?
No, it was after Deuce. I think it was
Yeah,
before Ivory though, too, wasn't it? Or was it Chris Ivory?
I
No,
don't know.
I think it was before Chris Ivory. There was a third one who was like the bully back, and I can't remember
Yeah,
who it was now. I can't remember his name. But yeah, I don't know. I kind of like the set. It feels like a Sean Payton team again.
yeah,
That's like a year or two away from kind of being competitive again.
yeah,
And then we have the Raiders, which hell, I don't know what to do with these guys either. I could see them winning 2 games, or I can see them winning 7 just because
why not?
like Max Crosby, yeah, and like if
Yeah,
Minshew is functional, like I could
yeah,
see them stealing a few wins here and there.
yeah. I mean, I can hope for Devontae in that situation and hope he produces a little bit. But
Hmm.
outside of that, it's tough for me to just think that they're going to be better than the bottom of the barrel.
Right? Yeah, I mean that, and because I mean, what is Antonio Pierce? I feel like there's a weird amount of pressure on Max Crosby this year because like if Antonio Pierce doesn't work, like Crosby was there putting his name on it and like, oh, if you're not going to hire him, I don't want to play. Like there was just
Yeah.
they were so loud fighting for
Yeah,
Antonio Pierce that
he's a
like
great locker room guy. It's
yeah, but
just
like
when asked to fire, how's it gonna happen? That's what you got to see.
exactly yeah,
Like
I don't think he's going to be like a Dan Campbell that just rights the ship and hires the
no,
right people to let him just be a locker room guy and everybody else just takes care of their side of the ball.
yeah, because part of that is also like that's an organizational issue.
Yeah,
You see who's running it. It's been a shit show for the last 10 years.
for real. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like it's either going to be they're kind of surprising, or it's going to be a fire sale come the trade deadline.
I think Devontae, if probably gone by week
Obviously,
5.
headlining it for sure. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
If they're struggling,
if they yeah, might as well get what you can and get out.
yeah, if they're 1-6, like I don't see Devontae being on that team.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if. Well, no, I don't know what his contract situation is. I was going to say Max Crosby
No,
gets
it's a
floated.
hard contract. It's too hard
I
to
was going to
move.
say because he just signed, didn't he?
Yeah, too hard to move. Too much dead cap. He's stuck for at least two
Yeah, so
years.
they're going to be stuck with him and Wilkins, but
Yeah, I
like
mean,
not be able to move
okay.
off. But like it could be.
Yeah,
It's not the
that's not
worst thing.
necessarily a
Again, not the
problem.
worst
Yeah,
problem.
yeah, yeah.
Right, but like in terms of like, all right, let's just start fresh kind of thing and get a
Yeah,
bunch of youth. Like you get two really appealing pieces that are just going to
yeah,
cost you too much. Now, again, if you
yeah, exactly.
tear it all down, you can figure it out. But that's a whole other thing. Cap shit makes my head hurt.
Always.
All right, let's move on to the NFC here.
All right, halfway.
Another fun division here. I know, yeah, this is going to be running longer than usual,
Yeah,
but it
we
is what
gotta
it is.
cook a little here with the NFC.
Yeah, we do. NFC East. Let's get the
Start.
Cowboys mess out of the way.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, let's just get that. I mean, what are we? Part of me is like, I don't think Jerry knows what he's doing, but the other part of me is like, I think he knows exactly what he's doing. Like, if it
Yeah.
was just Dak, I would be like, okay, he knows what he's doing. Like, it's a prove it year. Hey, you get me to NFC Championship game, we'll bring you back. But it's just with the CD stuff and the Micah Parsons stuff, it's like you got to pay CD at this point. If
Yeah.
you're not going to pay him, you got to move him, and you should have moved him 6 months ago
Three. Yeah.
or before the draft,
Yeah.
whenever that was. I don't know. I don't have a concept of the
Four
time.
4 months now. It's okay.
Yeah,
Yeah. I think it's also just the fact that you're talking about Dak in a preview is crazy to me. Like this man has righted that organization for the last 7 years,
for sure.
and you're talking like now you got to prove it. Like what more do you need that man to do at this point? Like yeah, they haven't won in the playoffs, but the Cowboys haven't won in the playoffs for the last 20, 30 years
Yeah,
since 1995. So you're really gonna put that all on one player? Why don't you put that on your shit house of a coach?
that's fair. I mean, I do think like if they don't bring McCarthy back after next year,
Uh,
like
I
I
can't believe they
think
brought him
it's
back this year.
I think he's gonna get a job. Like I don't think he's
I don't know if he'll
like
get a job as a HC, but he'll get a
I
job.
I mean Raiders could be an option. I mean we can go through a bunch of teams there that are going to be looking for coaches, and I mean I wouldn't be shocked if Mike McCarthy got hired right away. Like his name, like if he's going to be available for everybody, he's going to get at the very least multiple interviews.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
like, but the Dak thing is just weird because he's I think like a guy that has established himself as a top 10 guy, but I also don't think you can win a Super Bowl with him. And
I
that's the
think
confusing part about him.
I don't
Especially
necessarily.
at this point now with where the contract is going to go. Like I don't think you can pay him 55, let alone 60 or 65 million and truly be a contender.
Yeah, yeah. I see what you're saying. What I guess what I'm looking at is I think you can win a Super Bowl with him. So I view him and two in a very similar light. I think they both could win Super Bowls as long as they are propped up in the proper position to do so. I don't think McCarthy is the right coach for Dak. And I don't think that offense is set up around Dak well enough at this point. Your offensive line is significantly worse than it was last year and 2 years ago. You no longer have an all-pro running back. You have one receiver that you peppered for 17 games last year, and then a third-year tight end who could be something. And then outside of all of that, you have nothing. You don't have a second wide receiver on that team. You
Yeah.
don't have
But
you
that's
don't have
part
a
of it
running
too. It's
back.
just like, how much are they going to be able to afford if they hand over the checkbook to Dak? And that's like the same thing with Tua too. Is like when you start paying these guys this much, like okay, Tua's now when his contract officially kicks in. I mean, are you going to be able to pay him and Tyreek and Jalen Waddle and still have a couple studs on defense? Like you have to
Yeah,
like be either perfect in the draft or
yeah,
really find like budget guys.
yeah. And
And
we know the Cowboys aren't good at drafting or evaluating players
right,
at all. They
right,
lucked
especially in
out.
the
I mean, Micah fell into the laps because of his off the field issues, but
yeah, I don't know his podcast at this point. I guess that's his off the field issue, but
yeah,
um, yeah, I don't know. Everything's just weird.
yeah,
It's just real weird. Like I said, if you weren't going to pay CD and that's where it's landing, like I don't know why you don't make a deal. Same thing with like the Niners with Ayuk. Like if you weren't going to pay him and you knew they were going to ask out, why didn't you do that before the draft? Get a haul. You get guys that are going to help you immediately.
now, yeah, not
Yeah, like not next year.
18, not 18 months from now. Yeah,
Exactly. Like it doesn't make sense. I'm not as concerned about Micah Parsons, one because
no,
it's still a year early for him, and also like that deal's going to get done. It's just a matter
yeah.
of like how much they're going to pay. Like they should do it now for business. Like you're going to get them cheaper the sooner you
Yeah.
do it.
Yeah, not only that,
But
it looks good to Micah. Micah feels better about
exactly
your organization. Like, hey, my
right.
organization respects me enough to pay me X amount of money 2 years out of the end of my contract.
Yeah.
So
Um. But yeah, no, the deck stuff's just weird. Like
yeah,
I don't know what to. I don't know where it's going to end up. I don't know. It's him, Tua, and Kirk. They're the same guy.
yeah,
Like they're like different versions of the same player. And Kirk has done a great job of making himself money, but he's also not winning. And I think that's kind of the bucket you're in at that point. It's just like, hey, you want to be the guy that is a free agent at 31 years old and been wildly productive?
yeah,
Cool, you're going to get the payday, but like the ceiling on your winning capabilities just is so much lower
yeah.
at that point. So that's just my concern with Dak. And then outside of that, I don't. There's just not enough juice in just terms of
No,
this
yeah,
year, like
yeah,
just
that's
record
what I was
wise too.
saying.
Like on top of that too, is like there's just not enough juice anywhere.
Yeah.
And then Bland is out for a while now too. I just saw that.
Oh, is he? Okay. I mean,
Yeah, I didn't see how
I think yeah.
long.
At the end of the day, they'll still be competitive in that division.
I think they'll be competitive, but I don't
They're
know. I
not going to
don't.
win it.
I'm not going to be surprised if they miss the playoffs.
Yeah, yeah. I can
Simply,
back that. Yeah.
simply put. Like yeah, he's 6 to 8 weeks foot surgery.
Okay.
I had to double check that. Yeah, I
Yeah.
saw it was a lengthy one, but I wasn't 100% sure.
Yeah. And then we also
On
have to
the
see how, I was just going to say, we have to see how Trevon Diggs comes off his injury.
oh yeah, I forgot about that.
So you're missing your two starting quarterbacks essentially to start the season.
Yeah,
Or
so
Diggs
it's literally
isn't what he was.
Micah Parsons, and 10 other guys. You're just kind of rolling out there.
Hoping for the best, yeah.
Yeah, it's a weird situation they're in. On the flip side, more positive note, I like everything the Eagles are doing.
I mean, it's hard not to. It
I
really
like it
is.
a lot. If I like everything they're doing, I like everything about them
Hmm.
except for Nick Sirianni.
Yeah, you said that, yeah, the other day.
That's the only thing. That's the only thing that holds me back on them. I think there's if it's a slow start, I think it's on the table. You could be looking at interim coach Vic Fangio. Um,
That's awful.
or yeah, I mean, I'm not going to be surprised by that with all the noise coming out with him and Jalen Hurts, and everything like that.
Yeah.
Like it's too much. I think as of right now, that is the hottest seat that I can think of.
I mean,
Again,
obviously,
I wouldn't be
if they
shocked if they fire midseason, but I'm not expecting it. You know what I
no, no.
mean? I think
I
they'll
think they'll be fine.
let it through. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Um,
think no matter what they'll be fine. I do agree that him and Hurts and all the smoke coming out isn't just smoke. It's definitely some tension there, but I think the team's too good to just not fail. Well,
oh
too
yeah,
soon.
I don't I,
Yeah.
like I yeah I think I mean very real. I think it's a 12-win team
Yeah, yeah,
on
100%.
paper. I don't think that's a stretch at all, or is going to catch anybody off guard by that. But like, it's weird. I kind of like the new like having Kellen Moore there, kind of doing his thing with
Yeah.
Jalen Hurts, and losing Kelsey is huge.
Yeah.
But I think the silver lining in that is that I don't think you're going to see the tush push as much, and I don't think Jalen Hurts wants to do the tush push. I don't think he wants to put himself in danger like that being
Yeah.
at the bottom of that pile 6 times a game. I think you're
Yeah.
rarely going to. I think they're really going to scale back on that. One, because I don't think Jalen wants to do it, and two, I think they're going to try it a few times and get stuffed because you don't have Jason Kelsey
Yeah, I mean,
moving that
the one
pile.
thing I'll always say about the Eagles is that they set their offensive line up for the future. Always, always have
Oh yeah,
something in the back burner. I mean, they drafted prior to Kelsey even retiring, 2 straight years they drafted centers. Landon Dickerson turned into an All-Pro guard, and
yep.
then Cam Jurgens, who is lined up to just slide right into that
Who
position.
Jason Kelsey scouted for them. He's the one
Yeah,
that
exactly.
picked them out. Yeah, like has been working with them. So I do like that, but I think the big thing with like what I'm saying with like the tush push stuff is like Jason Kelsey was so smart with the offensive line and reading everything, and he kind of took care of that. Jalen Hurts wasn't really doing any of the, you know,
Yeah,
any movement with the O line. Kelsey took care of that, but then with the tush push, like Jason Kelsey's size, like
yeah,
as because he was just a little bit shorter as an O lineman, and he was able to get a little bit lower and like get you that extra little push there. And, low man wins, and Jason Kelsey was often the lower man.
yeah,
I just think with a bigger body, it's going to be a little bit tougher, but I think that's better for them in a way,
yeah, for
and
sure.
it's going to get Saquon a lot more touches, which I love. That
Hmm.
I'm kind of backing Saquon Offensive Player of the Year a little
Okay.
bit. I think like the
I mean,
whole CMC to San Fran comps. I'm
yeah.
kind of with it on that. I think as long as he's healthy, he's primed for a big year.
All right, all right. We'll get into that in another episode, I'm
Yeah.
sure. We'll save that for
um,
then.
fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah, we'll debate that one a little bit more. Let's do Commanders.
Okay. I love Jaden Daniels. I didn't 5 months ago. I didn't even when he was drafted. But the more I've thought about it, the more I've seen and watched, I'm very, very optimistic about him. The Commanders as a whole, much less optimistic.
That's fair.
We'll see. I mean, there's a lot of interesting things that are being discussed in the world that is sports with him and Ayuk, but I think with given what's on their paper right now, I think they can be competitive-ish. We're talking like 8 wins, um,
Yeah.
which I think it's a big win for a rookie quarterback to win 8. And I think Daniels is gonna be a fun watch overall.
Oh, for sure. As long as he's not taking hits, because obviously everybody's going to the Lamar comp, but Lamar doesn't take shots.
Yeah,
Like he doesn't take big hits. He's so good at getting down, getting out of the way, running out of bounds. The times that Lamar's been hurt, he's been in the pocket and
yeah,
been rolled up on a little bit. Um, so if he can do that, because he did take some shots in college
yeah,
a little bit more consistently, but if he can get down, get out of bounds, uh, I like that comp a lot, and I think it's there's a lot of potential for that. I also kind of like how everything's new.
Yeah, it's
So
fresh.
I will
It's
say I listened
completely
to
fresh.
yeah, like I listened to Cowherd on it. Now he's going more than I will. He's got them as a surprise team and making the playoffs. I'm not going
Yeah,
that
well,
far.
he's an
That's a
idiot, but
stretch. Don't make fun of my guy. But yeah, I'm not going that far. But
yeah,
I like that it's all new. You got new ownership, new coach, new staff. You got youth
yeah,
everywhere. It's a really fresh thing. Everybody is gonna like is kind of tied to them
oh
in
for
different
sure.
ways. Um, I think I kind of I just like it again. Kind of like the Broncos. It's not gonna be much this year. See kind of what they have, kind of thing.
Hmm.
But the trajectory of them over the next 3 years, I
Yeah,
think, is
I
really
think
really positive.
I think the big difference between them and the Broncos in that right is Cliff Kingsbury as the OC. I can see that similarity to 2019 with him and Kyler and what
Yeah,
they did right off the bat. If they have that kind of growth and connection together, like that's crazy.
and
You're
Daniels
gonna see a fun
throws
offense
a better deep
immediately.
ball.
Yeah. Well, sure.
I mean, he throws some bombs there, so like I think that opens up a little bit more for Kingsbury than he could with
I guess
Kyler.
if he's a little taller than Kyler,
That helps
but
too. Yeah,
yeah, but I think Kyler overall is just we'll save that for
yeah.
later.
We'll get to the Cardinals there too. I mean, yeah. But yeah, no, the Commanders are. I like where they're going.
Yeah.
Where I don't like where this is going. New York Giants.
I think it
Um,
gets worse and worse every single day for them.
yeah, for
I think
what?
I mean you just want to chalk that up to number one overall pick and we can move on.
But on the flip side, like I think their defense is too good. They're not going to have the number one pick. Like that front
Yeah,
seven
but
is legit. Like they have a hell of a
but
pass rush.
you have to score points to win games. And if Danny Dimes is throwing what he's been throwing in practice and in the preseason,
Yeah.
can't win games like that. Can't score
Oh,
points.
100%. I mean, they're going to be
So
bad. There's
they're going to be bottom five.
outside of the that front seven and
Yeah.
Malik Neighbors.
Oh yeah. Oh,
What?
Malik's unbelievable.
Yeah, but what are the redeeming qualities of this
There really
team
there
and
isn't any.
organization? I mean,
There's
I
not
just feel
even.
bad for Brian Dable.
Yeah. Their
That's the
offensive
only thing.
line looks terrible every day.
Yeah, it it's just been bad. Joe Shane has done
Yeah.
a horrible job
Yeah.
and looked like an absolute buffoon with the hard knock stuff. Like it's just a bad look everywhere. I
Yeah.
don't see how they don't fire everyone after this
Yeah.
year. Like they're
Unfortunately for Dabble.
yeah, like I mean, and he's gonna get a job and he's gonna go somewhere and he's gonna be awesome. He's gonna
He's
kill
gonna
it
be
with
unbelievable.
somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I love
because the
Dabble. Yeah.
dude, yeah, like it's just it's a mess there,
Yeah.
an
Yeah.
absolute mess.
Yeah.
It's I
I'd almost give him Carson Beck right now. They'd probably be better.
yeah, honestly, yeah, like
Yeah.
let's just get it over with. Yeah, but who knows? They're probably gonna have the number one pick and they'll
Don't say
still
it.
pick the wrong guy.
We'll
They're gonna
call
take
it
the wrong.
that.
I don't know who the wrong guy is gonna be, but they're gonna take the wrong
Shadur.
guy.
It would be Shadur.
Shadur, possibly, or like Dylan Gabriel, who I
Oh
don't have
no.
as much faith in.
There's
But
no way.
I don't know, dude. It's yeah, dude, I don't even want to spend more time on them because they're gross. It makes my head
Yeah.
hurt.
All right. All right.
All right, NFC North.
Okay.
Um, let's get it out of the way. The Lions. There's
They're
not
good.
much not to
Yeah.
like there. I mean,
They have very few flaws on that team right now. They're
I don't yeah, I
probably
don't know what it is.
I think they're probably the best looking team on paper with everything that
Yeah,
they have. I'll say that.
I would not be shocked if that's your not just number one seed in the
Number one team
NFC. Just
overall.
I wouldn't be surprised because
Yeah.
their schedule
Yeah.
the scheduling is insane. They play 3 games outdoors.
It's just nuts. Nuts. Jared Goff is gonna have the best season of his career.
Yeah, like
You
take
might as well pencil him in for 5,000 almost right
yeah.
now.
We'll get into the betting here. Take the all the overs on
Yeah,
Jared Goff. Just take them all
yeah.
at this point.
They're
Like
too
he's going to
low.
be
Yeah.
upright. He's going to be comfortable. He's going to have great weather because he's inside, and it's just going to
He's
be.
yeah.
I think this is going to be the best version of Jared Goff we've seen,
Yeah, not only that, this is the
including
best
with Sean McVay.
this is the best offensive line that teams has, so it's crazy.
Yeah,
Best O
they're
line in the
loaded
league by
everywhere.
far.
I guess
Yeah.
like the only question mark is wide receiver two. Like, is it going to be Jameson Williams? Because he kind of did come on. He looked like a bust, but then he kind of came on at the end of
Yeah.
last year a little bit. Like, I'm not sure
Yeah.
what version of him you're going to get.
I'm not
But
a Jameson Williams guy, but I don't think you really need a wide receiver, like a stud wide receiver too, with Sam
no, I don't think
Laporta,
you do.
and then you have Gibbs and Demont back to back.
Yeah. And Laporta has been fantastic.
Yeah, just a crazy, crazy dude. There's a car going off again. Oh, I don't know.
Who knows?
Keep going. Keep going.
Fair enough. All right, let's have some fun with the Bears here.
All right,
I'm I'm in on it. I'm in on it big time.
you're in. Okay. I can't say I agree, but I'll follow.
I think that's. I don't think 10 wins is out of the question there.
I think that's a little bit of hopamine on your part, but
Fair enough. I just don't think it is because like I think I'm not saying Caleb's going to come in and light up the world year one,
yeah.
but I mean if he gives you what 3,600 yards and 22 touchdowns,
Do you think that equates to
22 to
10 wins?
25, I think that defense is good enough, and I think he's going to take care of the ball, and I think they're going to run the ball well between Herbert and Swift.
But I
I
think that division's way too competitive for that to get you 10 wins.
I think a mix. I think the division is going to be competitive, but that's also the thing too. Is like, okay, let me see when the Lions go to Chicago, but like if it's winter and Jared Goff has been used to playing inside all year, I mean, are you going to be surprised if they get knocked off in Chicago?
No, they might split. Like
Yeah,
Detroit will
and I could
probably
see
split with
them.
Chicago and Green Bay.
I could see them splitting with um, the Packers. And okay, so even if they go 500 in division, they go 3-3 in division.
Okay.
You got to find 7 wins there, and that schedule. I mean, they're playing a last place
I
schedule.
mean, well, yeah, you're just hoping that Caleb Williams comes out and lights the world on fire. That's all. And
But
he
that's what I
very
mean. It's like I don't even think
he definitely
I don't
could.
think he has to light the world on fire. I mean, like you go through their schedule, there's a lot of winnable games. They're non-division games. I mean, they open with Tennessee at home.
Yeah.
They get the Panthers at home. They go to Washington. They get the Patriots at home. Like,
I just yeah, I guess I want to start to see it
and
because at the end
The
of the
Lions
day,
go to
it's still
Chicago on
Chicago.
December 22nd. I'm just saying, in
It'll
terms
be a
of
fun
weather and
game,
everything
but
like that, I
yeah.
think I'm just saying I wouldn't be shocked about it. Like,
No.
yeah, I'm in on the Bears. I'm in on
Okay. All right. I don't agree, but I
it.
just I just want to see it and then I'll debate it. So like that's more so a conversation for like week 3.
That's fair.
Well, I want to see how they operate, and then I'll be able to give a better opinion. But until then, without pads in a real game, real setting, something actually on the line, I don't want to even discuss 10 wins.
That's fair.
I remember we played this game with
Look at
Justin
that.
Fields 3 years ago. It's
That's
same
true.
situation.
That is true.
I mean, it's not.
Yeah,
It's
and
not
he
the same
just
situation.
completely
Obviously,
right.
Caleb Williams is the better prospect, but it's a
Oh, for
similar
sure.
mindset. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've always been. I mean, I was high on Justin Fields coming out of college until he went to Chicago, and I went, never mind, I'm out because I have no
Yeah.
faith in them. But I just don't think you can fuck up Caleb Williams to that point.
You would assume you can't, but
That's true. That's entirely fair.
it's you're going back to that organizational thing. You gotta.
Yeah.
I just want to see it. I want to see 2 weeks of it, then I'll give some comments.
That's fair. Where are you at on the Packers? I'm curious.
Um, I love their offense. I don't love their defense. I think they'll win a lot of games still, get into the playoffs. Outside of that, they'll be a top seven team in the NFC. I'll say it.
Yeah,
Where they
um,
finished, I don't know.
yeah, I'm kind of with you on that. Where I don't know if there's much else to really say about them, other
Yeah.
than I don't think they're going to win the division, but I don't
No,
think they're
no.
missing the playoffs either.
Yeah.
I think they're just it's the Packers. They're too consistent. LaFleur's too good of a coach. Jordan
Yeah.
Love, even if he regresses a tiny
Um,
bit,
it's still
like
4,000 yards. Yeah.
yeah, like they're still going to be fine.
Yeah.
He's got like they have a good problem and they have a lot of receivers.
Yeah.
Like
A
they
lot of
got three
question
guys that
marks,
are
but
legit.
yeah.
Question
Yeah.
marks, but like who's going to be the lead guy? But like also, I think in Will Fuller's offense, you don't need a feature guy though
No.
either. I think they just kind of are going to be what they are. The
Use a bunch
defense
of
will be
yeah.
fine. They're going to be good in the trenches. Like it's the
Yeah.
Packers. They're just
Yeah.
you're going to look up and you're going to be the 5 seed and have 11 wins, and you're just going to be going on the road because the Lions are just got some scheduling breaks and are
Better.
as a roster just a little bit better. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's just
That's
I
just how it
mean
is. Yeah. I
yeah
agree.
I,
I agree with
I, I
that.
don't think there's much else to really kind of dissect with them or anything like that.
Okay.
Um, Vikings.
Oh, another one. Not a whole lot to kind of dissect. It's kind of like a wash already for their season.
Yeah, I
You're
mean
running
I
out Sam Darnold every week. It's gonna be tough. Your defense is worse than it was last year. Yeah, you have Justin Jefferson. He's gonna be good. He's gonna save that offense. He's gonna win
mhm.
you a few games. That's just how it
Yeah,
is. But
I yeah
all in all, it's
exactly.
just you're probably looking at a 4 or 5 win team at the end of the day.
Yeah, I
And
mean
it's not
like
even because of their offense, it's because of the defense.
yeah, that defense is light, for to say the least. There,
Yeah.
I think Kevin O'Connell and Justin Jefferson are going to keep you from being a real bottom feeder and really like you know in a position. I mean, they might be bad enough to be I don't know bottom 17.
Yeah, yeah, I think that
That could get you some extra draft capital, depending
or
on
just
how
the
everybody
best
feels about quarterbacks.
a decent defensive player.
Or that
Decent
too. Yeah, I
a
mean you're
very
going to
good
have
defensive
options.
player. Yeah.
Right, right. The only other thing with them that I have is like I don't know, just for good vibes purposes, I'd like to see Sam Darnold look functional.
Yeah, that would be
That's
great.
it.
I
I
know.
mean, like,
He
just
gets
keep
a
the guy
full
in the league.
season. Yeah, he
Yeah,
gets a full look. If he produces, maybe another team will take a shot on him next year.
yeah.
But
Same kind of thing with like Justin Fields going to Chicago. Darnold went to one of the
a
worst
terrible
Jets teams I've ever seen. Like,
yeah.
and
I mean,
dude
the
was
man's
seeing
never been
ghosts.
yeah, man's never been in a good situation. So
Yeah. So I'd just like to see him, actually on the field with a
yeah,
guy that
I
can call
think yeah,
plays
yeah, I think
and a
that'll be
legit
fun.
receiver.
Two
Like I
legit
just,
receivers.
so let me see.
Yeah,
Yeah, true.
it'll be fun.
Well,
And then
after the first couple of weeks.
yeah, and Hawkinson when he comes back.
Right. Yeah. Like
It'll
I'd
be
like to
fun.
just see what a little bit of a what could have been at this
Yeah,
point,
yeah, for
but
sure.
let him just stick around as a backup in plenty of other places.
Yeah.
All right, let's go NFC South.
Oh, God.
Odd, just weird too.
Yeah.
Like I feel like
I mean,
it's like on the flip side of some of these other divisions that are like, oh, we don't have much to say. This is like not much to say, but not in a
good way.
positive light.
Yeah. It's all bad.
Let's start with the good. Let's be happy
Just
first here.
do Atlanta, get them out of the
Falcons.
way. Yeah.
Let's get Atlanta out of the way. Obviously the Michael Penix Kirk Cousins dynamic is. I mean, it's just
Strange.
a weird, yeah, just weird. But at the same time, like
Whatever.
they're not going to be bad at quarterback. You're not
Yeah.
going to have. I think that is a move that is so like just because of Desmond Ritter and Taylor Heineke last year, the last 2 years, really, just like you have
Yeah.
nothing going on at quarterback,
I,
and
I,
you
I think
have pieces.
yeah, I think what they did was they oversteered.
Yeah.
They wanted 2016 Matt Ryan so bad that they doubled down on quarterback to try and
Right.
get to that place. So they're like, no matter what happens, if Kirk's not ready to go, we still have a guy, which is hilarious. But
Yeah. I mean, they took out like an insane insurance package on a
yeah,
Toyota Camry. Like,
yeah, it just unnecessary.
right.
But
You're spending extra
that
money
yeah,
every month here just to have, an average car. But
yeah,
at the same time, like, okay, if Kirk isn't great to start the year, or he's got lingering stuff with the Achilles, uh, you can insert Penix into that, and they're going to be fine.
yeah, until
Like
Penix
Penix was
gets
too
hurt.
good, is yeah, too refined for it to be
I mean,
bad.
he's also 25 years old, so
Well, I mean that helps. But even so, I mean, you're going to get him for 10 years, like
10
as
years.
long as
Yeah, when he finally gets to play at 28
true.
on his
Him
rookie
and
on
Bo
his
Nix are
on
going to
his
be
rookie.
battling out for the Heisman again this year.
This
Um,
is terrible. It's awful.
but outside of that, I mean, the weird move to actually make a trade for Matthew Judon. I think this early
I
because
mean,
I get it. I do
yeah,
understand it, but like I don't. I think it's a little early for it to be like to make that move.
yeah, yeah. I think
Um,
they just wanted to double down on their defense again, ensure that they actually
yeah.
have a edge that they can kind of rely on a little bit.
Oh yeah, and I mean
Because
he'll get. I mean he's going to be productive.
yeah, because that's what they were like thinking about drafting, and then they
Right.
said, you know what, we do want Michael Penix, which is I don't want it's crazy.
Yeah. Don't need to rehash
Yeah.
everything that was going on with that,
So
but
I think they just wanted to kind of ensure that they have a guy out there every week, as
yeah.
opposed to the question mark that they've trotted out at edge the last 3 years.
Right, like I said, like I don't hate the move at all. I just like
Yeah,
it felt weird to do it this early in the like
yeah,
before the season even starts. Like it
yeah,
feels like a move like okay, we're 6-2 right now. Let's keep a good thing going. Let's try to
yeah,
get a 1 seed. Like you still don't know what you're gonna be.
yeah.
I
I mean,
do like this.
on paper, their defense is very, very good.
Yeah, I
I
think there's
want
some
to,
holes, but like
I
it's
want to see how it performs, but on
yeah.
paper, it's
I
good.
mean, I like the AJ Terrell signing to lock him up and picking up Justin Simmons. I like that.
Yeah,
I kind of forgot he was a free agent. And he just kind of went under the
yeah,
radar for so long. But I like
yeah,
all of that, and I like where they're heading. I think it's their division to lose. Um, I think they're going to be weirdly loud if they don't win that division. It's going to be
yeah,
like the why are we talking so much about the Falcons kind of thing. But like there's no
yeah,
reason that they should lose that division
yeah.
in my eyes. Um,
I'm with you.
yeah, let's go into the Bucks here.
Yeah, be a quick one, I
I,
think.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be about the same as last year. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah.
Somewhere
It's,
between
I
seven
mean,
and 9 wins in that
I
range, I
think
think.
they'll be about the same. They'll be
Yeah.
competitive. I mean, I viewed Buccaneers last year in the light of they're probably going to finish last in the division. They outperformed that by a
Yeah,
lot.
they did surprise me. Baker was a
So
lot better last year. I don't know if you're going to get
so
that version of Baker again, though.
yeah, they're running that same team back out there essentially. I'm curious to see how they'll do again. See if they can run it back because the Seahawks did it with Geno. They tried to run it back and it wasn't the same. Different
Hmm.
team, different dynamics. So I'm curious to see if they match what they did. If they do, that's great. They'll battle for a wild card spot, and if they don't, then they're just out of the playoffs, probably looking at pick 17. Um,
Exactly. Yeah, I think they're going to be right in that mix of like the only time we go, oh, look at the Bucks is like when they put up the in the hunt thing, and it's like, oh,
yeah,
they're right there,
because
but like
yeah,
nobody's ever going to talk about them. They're just going to kind of be quiet all year long. Baker will
yeah,
have a few moments, but outside of that, I don't know. It's just there's just they're fine.
yeah,
They're
100%.
fine. They're not really in a position to reboot anything, but they're not in a position to go for it either. They're just kind of there.
There, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Panthers. I think there's going to be. I don't know.
They can't be worse.
No, no, exactly. That's kind of where I'm at with them. Is like I think they're going to be better. Um, I think some fresh eyes on Bryce Young. Year
Mhm.
two. I don't think there's any pressure on him at this point.
They
because
shouldn't
it's
be.
again, it's like, I mean, it's not going to be worse. I don't think there's anybody that's like, oh, let's really see what Bryce Young has in him this year. I think it's just
Yeah,
like somebody just keep the dude upright and let him throw the ball. Like it's
yeah.
there's not much else you can do there. Same kind of thing where I just don't think they're going to be. They're just going to be the other team, one of the other teams in the NFC South,
Yeah.
like
I, I
just exists.
yeah, I think 6 wins is really good for them
Yeah,
if they
I
can get that.
yeah yeah. You and I are on exactly the same page there. Um, Xavier Legette is just going to be fun. Just put a mic in front of
Supporting.
him every
Oh
single
yeah,
time.
yeah. So I view
Get
him
him.
like personality wise, him and Keon Coleman, lock them in a
Oh
room,
my God, yeah,
let them talk for 4 hours, record it. I'll watch it later. I
hundred
want
percent.
that in my life.
Yeah,
Um,
I just want to hear more
they're
of Xavier
yeah,
Legette's voice.
yeah. Their receiving core is an absolute mess, and I'm here for it. I don't know
Yep.
who the one is. I don't know who the two is. Deontay Johnson could be the four in that offense for all I know, and that's
DeAndre Johnson,
hilarious.
I feel like, is just going to be picked up by somebody
It
next year.
it was just I think they were scared, and that's why they made that trade.
Hmm.
They wanted a name essentially for Bryce.
Yeah, and they didn't give up much for him.
Dante Jackson. It was basically a one for one, and then there was a pick
Okay,
swap involved.
I was going to
It
say I
was
think it was a late like day three picks though, wasn't it?
it was like nothing, yeah. And
Yeah.
Dante Jackson looks solid for the Steelers right now, and
Yes.
Deontay Johnson already is having injury concerns. So it's like, what
Yeah.
are you gonna do?
I mean, yeah, the Steelers were never going to pay him anyway, and he
Not
didn't get a new.
again.
Yeah, yeah.
He didn't get a new deal. No,
I was going to say yeah because he's.
I think it's like 16 million. He's due.
I was going to
So
say, but then he's up after this year, right?
yeah,
Either
yeah.
the
So
contract's up or like they can move off of him this after this year,
yeah,
basically.
yeah,
And there's no, yeah. So it was like low risk kind of thing there.
yeah.
More depressing stuff here in the NFC South. Um, I think this would be my bet for number one pick.
Really, I don't agree necessarily, but interesting.
I I also think Dennis Allen's going to be the first coach fired.
Oh, I do agree with that. He's
I
terrible.
think both of those things are just going to kind of compound. And I feel bad for Derek Carr. I feel bad for Alvin Kamara. I feel bad for Chris Olave. I just don't think, even in a division that's as just underwhelming,
Yeah,
I I I don't see wins. I don't
yeah.
see wins anywhere with this team. Um,
I'm with you there.
yeah, Kamara's another year older. Injuries have started to catch up to him a little bit because I mean, he got suspended and then it was like he was kind of, dealing with stuff all year long last year. Again, they got pieces: Kamara, Olave, Lattimore, and Derek Carr when he's got something going on around
I,
him
I,
is
I don't know if he
productive.
has. I don't know if Derek Carr has that juice anymore. We'll
I don't
see.
think he does, and that's
If
the other
if he
part
has
of it.
some juice, he'll keep them from being bottom tier. But we'll see.
Yeah, there's not a lot there.
Yeah.
I mean,
But yeah,
Cam Jordan's
I
getting
agree.
older. Demario Davis is getting older.
Yeah.
It just
I,
feels
I
like, and then their cap situation has been hell for 5 years, and they've been able to maneuver it just to get 53 guys onto a roster, somehow, some
yeah.
way. But like, I mean, that bill's coming due. Like, they're just in a bad spot. I
Yeah.
just, yeah, I think it's full on reset there, and
I
it's
think
it's
I think
back
it'll be
to.
interesting to see Spencer Rattler get in there eventually.
I
I
think,
think we'll
yeah, I think
see
you're going to
him.
see him sooner rather than later too.
Yeah, whether it be a Derek Carr injury or a cut at some point, just to cut ties
Benching,
for
I,
both of
I
them.
I would even go benching because I'm not sure what his contract situation is yet. I
Yeah,
think they did
it's
front load it, but I don't know how they spread the money around because of the way they've been having to maneuver the cap for again like 5 years now.
yeah. I mean, they'll figure it out. But yeah, I think we
Yeah.
do see Rattler at some point, so that'll be
Oh yeah.
interesting.
Yeah. That's yeah. I just again I don't know. There's just not a lot going on there that I like.
Yeah.
All right. On to the
Final
last
one.
one. On to the last division here. I like this one a lot. I like this division a lot.
Yeah,
This and
it's a
that
fun
AFC
division.
South. I am
Do you want to start with the bottom team and then work our way up on this one?
Start with, I don't know
Seattle.
what you mean by bottom team.
I
Ooh,
think Seattle's the bottom team.
ooh,
Oh yeah.
ooh.
I'm going.
I was actually kind of dodging going in the order that I have them on here because I'm trying to avoid giving away predictions for that later on. But
All right, pick a team then. Pick a team, we'll start.
uh, let's go with Seattle now. Yeah, let's
Okay.
do it. Let's do it. All right,
All
you
right.
go.
I think that Gino is going to continue to regress. I mean, he peaked 1 year. Now, I
I
get
agree
it.
with that.
You do see these spikes, these flashes that he's had in training camp, he's had in the preseason, but at the end of the day, he's just not the quarterback that's going to get it done for you.
Mhm.
And I think McDonald, right? Correct?
Yep,
That's his name.
Mike McDonald.
He's not going to back it. He's going to let Gino run his course. They're going to go maybe 7-10, trot out that same team again. Not a whole lot of there's not a whole lot of difference between last year and this year between Seattle. There's just not. DK's gonna be DK. Lockett's 33 now. He's not the same guy. You're hoping JSN improves. I just don't see it. I think realistically they're probably gonna go 6-11,
Hmm.
and that's interesting if they
I
do that.
am I am much more optimistic on the Seahawks. I
Interesting.
think Mike McDonald is that guy. I think they've had a
Okay.
lot of pieces. Like, I mean, you look at around that roster. There's a lot to like. Tariq Woolen.
I'm not saying there's
I
not.
Yeah, and to your point with Lockett, he's getting older, but like JSN's kind of coming up there. I think you're going to see more of JSN, which he had his moments last year, but it
Yeah.
wasn't like he was getting big numbers of like snap
Yeah.
counts last year either because Lockett was still kind of established as that two guy.
Yeah.
Um, I agree with the Geno stuff because he's like apparently wants a new contract. It's like, dude, you're not getting a new contract. You're Geno Smith. Like, sorry, cool,
No.
appreciate your time, but like we're not
No,
we're
I
not
think
tying
he's
ourselves
done
to
after
this.
this year. Yeah.
Oh, 100%. And I think they're going to be one of the teams that's aggressive next year. Like the Vikings this year, but in a better position.
I
I
think
think they're going to find a way to get a rookie
hmm
um, and build it that way. But I think the Seahawks are going to be fighting for a playoff spot.
I'm not in that boat. I get the idea. I think we'll have a better I think the division is just too much for them, and that's
Hmm.
the thing. With the amount of offensive firepower between the other three teams that they lack. Yeah, they have a good defense and McDonald's defensive minded coach,
Yeah,
but I just don't think they can keep up. If they couldn't
yeah.
keep up last
It's
they
going to
couldn't
be
keep
tough
up
for
last
them,
year against Mason and Mason Rudolph. You couldn't keep up with Mason Rudolph.
right?
It's the same.
Right.
It's like it and you're looking at three better quarterbacks than Mason.
Yeah,
I don't know, man.
I do think the McDonald defense is gonna keep him in games, and I think that's where he's gonna steal some games. Because I mean, look what he did to the Niners, Kyle
Yeah.
Shanahan on Christmas. He just, I mean, that wasn't pretty. That was not
Yeah.
pretty for
Yeah, but
anything.
you're looking at a whole different team than that. That's
Well,
you
for sure,
had
yeah, I agree with that.
you had
I
two.
do think it's yeah.
Yeah.
I do think that he's going to be able to get that defense. Not that it's been bad, like it's been a
Yeah.
solid defense. It's just like okay, new set of eyes on it. Pete Carroll's been good, but like this guy again, when your nickname is Boy Genius, like I'm gonna have you know a little bit higher of expectations there. Like I'm
Yeah.
gonna
I
like
mean,
I feel I would feel really good as a Seahawks fan because
yeah, I
it's
think
not
he
going to be
might
this
also
year,
be a
but I
little
think if you can
biased.
get a guy next year, you can start to compete a little bit more.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, we'll see. We'll see what they do.
Yeah. We'll go with the other one that well, I guess I don't know where you're landing on them, but let's do the Cardinals.
I like the Cardinals, but I'm also a Kyler Murray fan. Always
Mhm.
have been since he was drafted. I think getting him another weapon in Marvin. I think Michael Wilson takes a big step up this year. I think they're going to be a nice combo there. Trey McBride's going to continue to improve. The offense as a whole just looks on paper like it's going to be very good. Defense has always been a question mark. I think they'll improve at the very least this year. It can't get much worse than what they trotted out week to week last year.
Hmm.
I think they'll win 7 or 8 games. I think they'll beat the Seahawks in a head-to-head matchup, especially offense to offense. It's going to happen. So I like them more. I'm not saying they're a playoff team. They're not that same team they were 3 years ago when they made the playoffs. They're just not. But I think they're still going to be surprisingly competitive.
Yeah, I think right around 7 wins is a good number for them.
Yeah.
Uh, the Murray Marvin Harrison thing is going to be fun.
Oh, so much.
They're going to be a fun watch on offense. I think honestly, I think every game that they play is going to be a fun watch because there's just going to be a lot of points. They're going to be
Oh,
putting up
yeah.
points and they're giving up a lot. That's going to be the thing. I like where they're headed, but again, there's just not enough there for me. Just
I mean,
roster wise,
I
especially
get
on the
that.
defensive end, it's just
I get
there's
it.
just not enough going on there for me to really take them seriously. I don't think anybody's going to want to play them again. Just between Kyler and Marvin, just like when Kyler's healthy, he is a pain in the ass. He's just
Yeah.
getting away from people super quick, throws the
Slippery,
ball
slippery guy.
like
Yeah.
yeah, for real. Like he's um yeah, like he's much
You
better
you
than
want to you want to talk about a Drew Brees comp? I think Kyler's a much better Drew Brees comp than anybody else in the league. Similar
yeah.
height, similar slipperiness, throws a beautiful ball. Not as well as Brees, but like he's close.
He does. He throws a really nice ball. I will say that. The only thing I don't like about that comp is that Breeze was good moving in the pocket.
That's fair. Okay.
Kyler has no problem
Getting
getting
out of the
out of there.
pocket.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. That's
mainly
fair. I
so he
got
can
you.
see. But but then again, no,
Fair,
too.
fair
Like
enough.
I mean, Breeze was a smaller guy too. He struggled
Yeah.
with that at times. But yeah, no, I like where the Cardinals are going, but I don't have any high expectations. Um,
No, no. Not with the other two teams in this division, no.
right, right. So let's go Niners.
Okay.
I I still have my doubts on Brock Purdy, and I thought we were going to get a a real look at him with maybe Brandon Ayuk going somewhere, but now it looks like he's going to stay. Regardless, I'm not. I'm still hesitant to
Yeah.
take him seriously.
I
I'm
get that.
not fully buying into anything with him until I see him consistently without a Christian McCaffrey or Debo or Brandon
Yeah.
Ayuk or Trent Williams or whatever. However, we still might get that. Brandon Ayuk hasn't practiced. Trent Williams is not there. Christian McCaffrey is hurt,
Banged up. Yeah.
and he's been really nothing but healthy the past 2 years, um,
Yeah.
which doesn't happen for backs. So, like, not rooting for it, not anything like that, but like, it's just, you're going to
Yeah.
assume at some point in time,
It's gonna catch
possibly,
up.
probably this year, yeah, he's going to just,
Yeah.
high ankle sprain that keeps him out for a month and a half. And then what are they going to do? Like, I
I
am
get it.
not, I'm hesitant on the Niners. I'm not saying no playoffs. I'm not saying they're falling apart or that the sky is falling, but them being a number one seed,
Yeah.
I I am hesitant on
I gotcha.
propping them up.
I gotcha. I think overall they'll be fine. Like regardless, they'll make the playoffs. They're just too well coached and operated to not.
Right.
Um, I get the hesitation with Brock. I think I've seen enough where I'm more in on him now than I was this time last year, obviously. And I can't knock him because of the situation he's in. I
That's
just
fair.
can't. It's not his fault that he landed with two great receivers, great tight end, best running back in the league, and a decent enough O line that keeps him upright. I just can't put that against him, especially when he's still throwing for 300 plus yards.
Yeah,
Because you can't put any other quarterback in that draft in that situation and ask them to do the same thing. I just don't see that.
that's fair. Like I said, my concern is, all right, when you back to the Tua and T Law, everybody that just got a contract. All right, when he's up for his, by the time he's getting a contract, $58 million a year deal, and
Well,
you're
that
not keeping them.
yeah, he's eligible at the end of this year.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
because he wasn't a first round pick, they don't have a fifth year option. Like they're
yeah,
a little bit more limited, but that's what I'm saying. Is like once the
yeah,
money gets different, I'm still just hesitant on the all right, let's pay the guy thing.
yeah, yeah. I
I'm
get that.
not there yet
I
with
get
him
it. Okay.
because I haven't seen it. Now if Ayuk misses a month or like and Christian McCaffrey misses some time at the beginning of the year and Trent Williams isn't 100% because he hasn't been in practices and tweaks something and he misses a little bit of time and Brock Purdy is more than serviceable. I'm okay with it at that point, but until I see everything not perfect,
Mm.
I'm gonna be hesitant on the guy.
I understand completely.
Yeah,
Not gonna knock you for it. I think he'll prove himself a bit more this year.
that's fair. Yeah, he's just a polarizing guy right now.
Yeah, fair.
It's tough. It's tough to get a read on him. All right, and then I'll take over the Rams here to start.
Which is crazy that you're the one taking over the Rams.
I I am very, very, very bullish on the Rams this year.
Yeah.
Um, don't love them losing Aaron Donald, but I think they've drafted well enough on defense in general that losing that production is going to hurt, but it's also not going to kill them. They're not going to.
No,
Their
no.
defense is not going to fall flat
No,
by
to
any
to
means.
to combat that, Aaron Donald has regressed the last 2 years,
Exactly.
and but also for everybody who doesn't know, Aaron Donald's my favorite NFL player of all time, of my lifetime. He grew up
That's fair.
like down the street from me, so I love AD all day, every day.
100%.
Rams are my second favorite team, have been for the last 12 years, even before Aaron Donald went there. So I'm a big Rams guy. Asher is higher on the Rams than I am, but
I am. I like everything about it. I think the only question mark with them is just Stafford staying healthy,
yeah.
which he hasn't shown the ability to do all the time. But I mean, if you get 15 games out of him,
Oh,
I like everything about this team. Uh,
yeah.
Kyron
You.
Williams was fantastic last year. Now you're adding Blake Corum to that room,
Mhm.
and Blake Corum is a Jim Harbaugh guy. He's just going to run through somebody if he has to. Like he's just
He's
going to
a
be
bowling
physical.
ball. Yeah, he's a bowling
Yeah,
ball.
it's awesome. I love that for them. Like
Yeah.
he,
It's a
uh,
good compliment to what Kyron does. Yeah.
yep. Puka was a huge
Surprise.
surprise in a good way.
Yeah. In
And
the
Cooper
best
Cup
way
was not
possible.
great. Cooper Cup was not great last year.
Oh, he was hurt and
He
then he was still
he was
coming
hurt,
back. He's
and
looked he's
but even
looked
still,
very good in preseason right now and then practice, which again, I take that all with a grain of salt. I like to see it on the field first, but
right. But if you're
that
getting
does make you feel a lot better that that offense is going to be productive regardless of what
yeah,
happens.
and even if you're getting somewhere in between last year and what was it, the Super Bowl year when
Yeah.
he went for almost 2,000 yards, you're going to take that every day of the week when you have Puka on
Yeah.
the other side.
Yeah,
Like,
if you take 12 from both of them, that's great.
yeah, it's oh my god, I wouldn't be shocked by both of them putting up huge numbers.
Not at all.
Stafford's another guy too. Like as long as he's got some good health there, take all of the overs again.
Yeah.
Like
100%. 100%. Yeah.
everything there just seems like it's working. The O line's better. Um, has been very solid for them. Yeah, I'm really really high on the Rams this year. I like where they're headed for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, for sure.
No.
Um,
You got
yeah,
any
I
other
mean,
input on them?
no, I mean, I think they're going to be fine without AD. I think the defense is going to produce again. Offense is clearly their big ticket seller right now, and they moved into that mold 4 years ago. AD stopped dominating about 2020, and then
Mhm.
2021 to now he's regressed, which isn't a problem. I mean, when you plug in all the people that they had around him.
Oh yeah,
So I think as long as the defense shows up like they did at the end of last season, they'll be fine.
yeah. If they have a top 12 defense, which I don't think is out of the realm of possibilities, 12
Yeah,
to
I think
14
yeah,
total
I think
defense. I mean,
that's might be where they fall, and I'll be fine with that.
yeah, and I think that's a big year.
Yeah, I agree.
Like I
I'm
said,
with you.
yeah, especially with that division, Seahawks don't have a quarterback, Cardinals don't have a defense, Niners, there's just a lot of noise, and
Yeah.
yeah, I don't have enough good things to say about the Rams this year. We'll have more on
I'm
them
sure. I'm sure.
later on too, for sure. All right,
Uh,
that's everyone. We went about double the time that we wanted to, but hey, it's what we get for going through every single team there. But now you know how we feel, where we stand, stuff that we're going to argue about.
yeah.
We'll get on to a better schedule here of Thursday mornings, stuff coming out. Like this week, I think we're going to do predictions, a little bit of fantasy stuff. I'll go through some win totals and season bets and all that fun stuff. And then we'll have the weekly
Yeah.
thing on Thursdays. And we'll get rocking as the season goes on.
Oh yeah, dude.
There we
Ready to
go.
get going. Yeah.
Hell yeah, man. Cool. We did it. Episode 1 is done. There we go. We're all set there. Cool.
Yeah.